Alright, the more you see you know what you have to do. The first thing that you have to do is to secure the airway. Know how good your stats are. Even if your stat are like 100%, you still gotta secure the airway because it takes like literally nanoseconds to go and block your airway, so your stats will pop right there and then. So the first thing is to secure the airway. Then comes your differential, you know. We did the epiglottitis stuff and we assumed the tripod position with that, but now we have something different. That is a Ludwig's angina. So what is like the Ludwig's angina? You have this mandibular or like the sublingual gland, any bug coming in, like the inflammation of it is going to cause the inflammation of your mouth. So the inflammation of the mouth is going to push your tongue to the posterior side, so posterior is like your airway tract. When the tongue is to block the airway tract, you have the dysphagia, shortness of breath, and blah, 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 all sort of stuff. So the first thing you need to do when the patient has a difficulty breathing, first secure the airway, regardless of whatever your stats are, then see if it's like an epiglottitis or the other diphtheria, so a Ludwig's angina, so you'll get to know by the history. So in this question shows the Ludwig's angina and had gone like the molar extract or stuff like that, and then patient got infected because the neck is going to be like wacky and all sort of stuff. Okay, so what happens if the patient has got infection of this maxillary region? So infection could transmit to this temporal, the infratemporal bone, to the orbital bone, and then to the cavernous sinus thrombosis, so you really have to be vigilant. If the infection is of the mandibular gland and this part of the mouth, then it's still Ludwig's angina when blocked. You know, your this area, so air won't be able to go into it, the trachea and lungs and all sort of stuff. If the patient has got the otitis media, so otitis media, we have like here the temporal bone and the facial nerve passes, so we can the facial nerve palsy in case of the otitis media. Then if the patient has got like the posterior neck infection, which could go into dangerous area of the skull as well as into the posterior mediastinum as well, which can be necrosed. Okay, if the patient has got the deep neck infection, the infection won't travel anywhere else. Why? Because we studied in our second year med school because of the deep cervical facial neck, so the infection wouldn't go much further. So these are a few of the condition that we need to be like very vigilant about. As soon as we see this, first secure the airway, then find out it is the epiglottitis, or if it's the Vikingina, secure the airway first. If it's like the otitis media, then the temporal bone, then the facial nerve. If it's the maxillary, then the term infratemporal, then orbital, and the risk area, equine sinus tumorosis. If it's like the posterior, which can go up and down into the posterior mediastinum. So this is some of the stuff that we need to looking at.